Hey guys, how are you? And welcome back to my channel. In this video series that I've been making, I've been envisioning how a Resident Evil series or film would play out if we translated the game, basically shot for shot from the game into the movie, and I'll be showing you guys how you can do this in a cohesive way that's understandable and doesn't feel too out of place. Um, if you haven't watched the first part, I suggest you go watch that first part. In that first part, I talk about the first half of the mansion, as well as the prologue, and then I talk about the second part of the mansion, which is collecting the four crests to unlock the door that leads to the courtyard. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about the courtyard area, the guardhouse, and we're going to be talking about returning to the mansion once you've acquired the helmet key. So, in our film that we were envisioning in our last video, Chris and Jill just entered the Four Crests into the door, and they're about to step into a storeroom that contains another staircase puzzle where you have to push the staircase in front of the uh, shelf, and then you can pick up a crank here. For our characters in our movie, this room is going to be irrelevant right now. They're just going to walk in and they're going to see that there's items here, but they're just going to leave this room and they're going to enter the courtyard. So in the game, once you enter the courtyard, there's actually Cerberus in this area. So we're going to have that happen here in our scene. We're going to have Cerberus attack our characters here, and they're going to be fighting them off together, as opposed if you were playing as Chris or Joe, you'd be fighting them off by yourself. So as soon as the Cerberus are taken down in the game, you receive your first transmission from Brad. So if you were playing the game, you would get the radio from helping Richard out, but since Richard was dead in our scenario, we're gonna have them already have the radio with them. So when they get their first transmission from Brad, Brad is gonna tell them that he's basically looking for any survivors from Alpha Team. If anybody there, they should contact him. You try to contact him through the radio, but it doesn't seem like he can hear you. So we're gonna have that scene basically play out the same way here. It's just that we're actually have Chris and Jill both together for this scene. They're gonna head down the opposite hall in the courtyard, and they're gonna see that there's actually a winch for an elevator, and the elevator is pulled down. So they're gonna find the map for the courtyard here, and they'll be able to see that there is a heliport, but they have no way of reaching it for now. Um, when they go through the double doors at the end of the hall in this courtyard, they're gonna enter an area that has a giant tank that's filled with water. If you can see, there's actually a path that runs under the water, and there's a podium nearby. They actually need a square-shaped crank to operate this little podium in order to release the water so they can pass through the walkway. So they're actually going to head back into the little storeroom that they passed when they first walked into the courtyard area. And they're going to grab the crank, and then they're going to run back and they're going to use it on the podium, and they're going to release the water. Once they've released the water, they're going to walk by this path, and they're going to end up on another path on the other side. This little path has poisonous snakes that drop down if you're playing through it in the game. These snakes are actually poisonous, so we're going to have these snakes drop down out of nowhere on our characters here for a scene. That way we can build suspense, and we also have this scene be scary, and it'd be a great way to utilize a jump scare without seeming too cheesy. So if they continue down this snake path, at the very end there's actually an elevator that they can take down to a sub-level of the courtyard. Once they head down, they're actually going to be in this little courtyard area that has more Cerberus, so we're going to have them fight more Cerberus in this area. In this area, there's also an elevator that has the battery pulled out. This is actually the elevator that they saw a winch for earlier when they were in the first floor courtyard. And there's a small waterfall on the other side of this area. If they go up to it, they'll be able to see that there's actually some ladder uh, sticking out from the ground. So they want to head into this ladder to head into the underground. But for now, there's water that's blocking their way. So maybe in the movie, we can have the water be really hot, or we can even have it be poisoned water or something, so that it could be a realistic way for them to be blocked by this waterfall that's here. So the main goal is to basically find a battery for the elevator so they can take the elevator up, crank the podium, fill the area with water, and when they hit back down through the elevator, they'll be able to go into this area that has a ladder. So they're actually going to take another gate that's on the other side of this hall, and they're going to enter a stone hallway that leads to the guardhouse. So in this stone hallway, there's actually a lot of Cerberus. So we're going to have Cerberus, our characters, once again here. Um, that's a lot of zombie dogs, to be honest, but if we do it right, if we actually, if they make it scary and suspenseful, I feel like overdoing it with dogs wouldn't be that bad. So once they enter the guardhouse, there's actually two rooms. There is one on the left side and one on the right side. The room on the right leads into a guardhouse quarters. So every room in this guardhouse has two areas. They have a living space and they have a bathroom. So in the right room in the hallway is actually a save room in game. So what we're gonna have is we're gonna have Jill enter the room on the left, and we're gonna have Chris enter the save room. When Jill enters the room, she's gonna see that there's a zombie roaming around the living space. So she's actually just gonna go into the bathroom. In this bathroom in the game, there's a bathtub that's filled with water. If you choose to drain it, the C room key, which is actually a room to the control room that's in the basement lab of this guardhouse, uh, that key is located here once you've drained the tub. In the Nintendo DS version, in Rebirth mode, there's actually a different scene that plays out where if you go up to the bathtub and you choose to drain it, the lights will turn off and there will be a zombie that will be revealed that has climbed out, and you'll have to kill it before getting the C room key. So for our little movie envisioning, we're gonna have the ladder scene play out. We're gonna have Jill go up to the muddy bathwater and she's gonna try to drain it, only for the lights to go out, and then a zombie's gonna be revealed to be in the room with her. She's gonna kill this zombie off, and then Chris, hearing all these gunshots, is gonna run out of the save room and he's gonna run back into the room that Jill is in now. When they both enter the room, Jill's gonna be coming from the bathroom and Chris is gonna be coming from the hall. Chris is gonna kill the zombie that was originally in this room when Jill was here. So in the game, the blank book is located here. So we're actually gonna have our characters pick up the blank book off the bed in this room. So now they have the blank book and now they have the C room key. So they're gonna be leaving this room and they're gonna be heading into the hall that they came into when they first came into the guardhouse. In this hall, there's a bit of floor that's exposed, and a vine can come through and leach your blood. The point of the puzzle in this room is you have to push a stone statue in front of a hole. So for our characters to do this realistically, we would have to have one of the characters, either Chris or Jill, get grabbed by the vine, and we're gonna have to have the other character cut them from it, and they're gonna want to place something heavy over this hole. So they're gonna choose to put the statue over the hole, and that would be a great way to transition from the game mechanics into movie scenes. So they're gonna be entering the two double doors in this hall, which actually lead into the recreational room. In this room, there's a pool table that has an important code that you'll need later on. So we're probably gonna have one of the characters go up to this pool table, and when they go and try to inspect the table for the balls, maybe they'll notice that there's numbers carved in, and they'll read them and they'll be able to acquire this code for later usage. In this room, there's actually two giant spiders, which are also poisonous. This would be a great way to have jump scares for our characters in the scenes, and it would build more suspense, and it could be really a great way to showcase how scary the series can actually be if it was done right. Um, Once they take care of the spiders that are in this room, they're going to be leaving this area, and there's actually a door that's actually near the hole in the floor that had the vine coming out of it. This door leads to an L-shaped hall. So in this hall, there's actually only two rooms. There's the 002 room, which is locked at this point, and then there's a door that is unmarked. The unmarked door, if you go in there, there's actually a living hall area space where there's a door that's locked that needs a code. This is a code that you got from the pool table. There is a room labeled the 003 door, which is locked, and then there's another set of double doors in this hall. When you try to go up to them and try to open them, it says that they're locked from the other side, as if something was holding them in place. So in this hall, there's actually an important item, which is the 002 key. It's located on a desk near the 003 door that's locked. When you go up to this table, you'll notice that there's a giant beehive here. This beehive has been infected by the T virus, and if you go up to it, the bees will actually come out and try to attack you. So this would be another way to sneak in a good jump scare that wouldn't seem out of place or cheesy. We could have maybe Jill or Chris go up to the table and try to pick up the 002 door key, and they'll be attacked by these bees, which are also poisonous, so they'll want to leave this area quickly. Once they're in the L-shaped hall that contains the log 002 door, they're going to use the key that they just found to unlock that door. They're going to be going into another crew quarters area. The bathroom in the game is irrelevant, so we're just not gonna mention the bathroom here at all. We're gonna have them go directly into the living space. There's actually two bookshelves in this room. If you move one of them, it'll reveal a hidden ladder. So we're gonna have maybe our characters explore something in the book shelf. Maybe they'll pick up a book they like, and maybe they'll drop it. And when they go to pick it up, they'll notice that there is a ladder behind the bookshelf. So they want to move the two bookshelves out of the way, and they'll be able to climb down the ladder. So once they climb down the ladder, they'll be in this really long hall that has a gap in the middle that's actually filled with water. So our characters in the game cannot jump this, and they have to complete a puzzle where they have to push boxes into the water so that it creates a floating path that they can now run across. So in our movie, this is really clunky, and it would be really awkward to see our characters push some boxes for a while. So we're just gonna eliminate this whole puzzle altogether. We're just gonna have our characters, when they reach this gap in the floor, we're just gonna have them jump over it. When they've jumped over the gap in the hall, they're gonna be on the other side of the hall that has a door. These doors are actually, it is shown that this area is flooded. So when you enter this next area that has a big holding tank, the whole area is flooded with water. There's three doors in this area. There's two doors that are right next to each other. One of them is locked, and one of them you need the control room key to open. In the game, you would have picked up the control room key when you drained the muddy bath water. And since Jill already picked up this key, we're gonna be able to have her go out to this door and unlock it. There's actually another door that leads into another area. I'll be adding that room later. We're gonna be exploring the first two rooms first. In this scene in the game is where Neptune is introduced. Neptune is a giant white shark that was infected by the T virus and is very dangerous. He will attack either Chris or Jill when they get into this area. You can try to kill it here, but it's kind of hard because wading through the water is slow, and if Neptune grabs you, he'll sink his teeth into you and he'll cause damage, and you'll be helpless while he does that. But it's easier once you've drained the lab because it only takes a couple knife stabs to kill it. So what we're gonna have them do is that they're gonna open the door with the control room key, and they're gonna head in here, and they're gonna avoid the Neptune. While they're in here, they're gonna see that there are some levers on the walls in the game. If you were to press the lever, it would ask if you want to drain the lab. You'll say yes, and the lab will be drained, and you'll be able to press a button that's on the other side on the wall of this room. In the Nintendo DS Rebirth mode, there's actually a different scene that plays out. If you press lever and you try to drain the lab, sprinklers will turn on and they'll fill the water with a poisonous chemical, and you'll be forced to press another lever, sorry, to drain it, but there'll be a separate puzzle. So what we're gonna have happen is gonna be the ladder scene again. We're gonna have Jill go up to the levers on the wall, and she's gonna pull one of them, and then when the water starts draining, the sprinklers are gonna turn on, and the water will stop draining, and the water will become tinged with a new chemical. And at this point, maybe the lab room will let them know that the water is being poisoned by like a speaker system or something, so that they can have a viable way of knowing that information. So they're gonna want to turn it off as soon as possible. So they'll see that there's another like sort of lever or maybe like a wheel on the other side of the door. They'll be able to press the button on this wall, and then they'll have to solve maybe like a quick puzzle um, in order to shut it off. Once they've shut it off and the lab has drained, they'll be able to go up to the button that's on the wall, and they'll be able to press it. When you press it in the game lets you know that there was a sound from the room next door. So this button actually unlocks the door that's right next to this one. So in the game in the film we're gonna have it exactly like it does in the game. They're gonna go up to the wall and they're gonna press the button, and they're gonna hear something from the other side and they're gonna head out from this room and they're gonna go into the room next door. So in the room next door, there's actually an important item, which is the 003 key, which you need to open the 003 door that's located in the hall that had the beehive. So now that they have this important item, there's actually ammo in this room too. So this would be a great way to have our characters pick up more ammo without it seeming weird or out of place. Once they picked up the ammo and the key, they're gonna be heading out and they're gonna be entering the little side door that was the only other door that they hadn't explored when they came into this flooded area. In this room, there's gigantic plant roots, and this would be another way to add suspense because they've already encountered a plant that's hostile. So them thinking what those roots could possibly belong to could give a sense of dread or maybe some suspense here. Once they've left this area, Neptune is practically dead since they just basically drained the lab and there's no more water for him to swim through or her. So they'll be dead and they'll be able to leave this hall. They'll be entering the hall that has the gap in the middle. Once again, we're gonna have them just jump this gap for simplistic purposes. Once they've headed up the ladder and they're in the crewman's quarters, they're going to be heading into the hall that contained the 002 door. They're going to be entering the unmarked door, which is actually the door that leads into the beehive hall. Once they've entered this hall, they're going to be able to unlock the 003 door. Once they're in this room, the bathroom is going to be irrelevant because in the game you only find ammo there. So for a movie, this scene in this whole bathroom is actually just a waste of time. So we're not even going to have it mentioned. So they're going to just go directly into the living space. Once they're in the living space, there's actually there's some report on the bed that's actually a report on plant 42, which is a giant plant that grew to exponential size when the T virus infection took hold of the mansion. Um, there's actually a bookshelf that has a row of red books in this room. When you notice, there's actually a white book. When you take the white book out, the white book is actually the VJO report, which is scientists dictating a way they found that would kill Plant 42 cells rather quickly. This room is actually located in the beehive room. It's the room that you need a code to get into, which you already have because you checked the pool table. Um, so at this point, we're gonna go with a little bit of both Chris and Jill scenarios in the game. So what we're gonna have is that we're gonna have Jill and Chris enter the red book that was blank that they found on the bed in the first crewman's quarters room. We're gonna have them insert the book here now, and in the game, this reveals a hidden bookshelf that has a door behind it. We're gonna have that happen here too. When they go through the door, they'll be greeted by Plant 42, which is just gigantic plant that's been mutated by the T virus. It'll grab them and it'll restrain both of them. We're gonna have Rebecca come into this room now. She hadn't been seen since she was in the mansion. She's gonna be seen now when she comes in, like if she was in Chris's scenario, and she's gonna try to find a way to help these two right now. In the game, if you were Chris, you would throw the VJO report at Rebecca, and she'd be able to go into the room that needs the code in the beehive room, and she'd be able to mix together VJO, and she'd be go downstairs, and she'll be able to pour VJO on the plant roots that are located in the lab, and then you'll take over as Chris, and you'd be able to kill a plant. If you were Jill and you came in at this point and you didn't mix the VJO prior and didn't go mix it and put it on the roots, Barry's gonna come in and he's gonna torch the plant with the flamethrower. So what we're gonna have is that when Rebecca comes in, Chris is gonna throw the VJO report at her, and she's gonna pick it up and she's gonna leave. She's gonna go into the room that needed the code. She's gonna lock it and she's going to be able to mix together the VJO. She's gonna go downstairs into the lab and she's gonna pour it on the plant roots. Simultaneously to this, Barry is going to be walking into the Plant 42 room, and she's going to notice Chris and Jill have basically been taking hold of these plants. So he's going to torch the plant, and at first it's going to be difficult because the V-Jolt still hasn't been poured on the roots, but as soon as Rebecca pours it on it, the plant will be significantly weaker, and Barry will be able to take care of it no problem, saving our compatriots. So at this point, we're gonna have Barry basically just probably interact with our characters, maybe see where they're going, what they've been doing, and how they're going along with their investigation. and then we're gonna have Barry leave. Once Barry leaves, we're gonna have Chris and Jill examine the fireplace. In the game, this is where you would find the helmet key. So this is where we're gonna have Chris and Jill find the helmet key in the movie, like in the game. That way, we're super simple and it'd be less hassle. So once they've picked up the helmet key, they'll be stepping into the hall that contained the beehive. In the game, this is where Chris would meet back up with Rebecca, and Rebecca will basically say that she's glad that Chris is okay, and then you'd be able to leave if you were Chris. So we're gonna have Chris and Jill meet up with Rebecca here, and they're gonna talk, and then we're gonna have maybe Rebecca say that she needs to prepare something. Or that she can make something in that room where she makes the vigil, because in the game she says that she's gonna go prepare something and she'll leave you and she'll go into that room and you'll be able to continue exploring the mansion. So that's what we're gonna have her do here in this movie. We're gonna have her go into that room and she's gonna prepare something for us later. And Chris and Jill are gonna be heading out into the L-shaped hall that contained the 002 door. In the game, when you step back into this hall, Wesker is here, and he'll, depending on who you play as Chris or you play as Jill, you'll have different interaction with him. But the overall statement is the same. Wesker is alive. The other person that they were with, depending on who you were playing as, is missing, and they need to be found. There's some locked doors that are still in the mansion that need to be unlocked, and we need to basically get out of here. So once that interaction is done, we're gonna have Wesker continue on exploring the guardhouse, and then we're gonna have Jill and Chris uh, leave. They're gonna go back into the hall that contained the route that came through the hole in the floor, and they're gonna head back out into the stone hallway that leads away from the guardhouse. So in this hallway is where we're gonna be receiving Brad's second transmission in the game. This is where you would be receiving the transmission as well. As soon as you're leaving the guardhouse, you'll get a transmission from Brad that says that he knows that you can't answer him, but if you can give him a sign somehow, that way he knows that there's people still left alive. So what we're gonna have happen here is that he's gonna say that he's still around and he's basically trying to contact Alpha Team or Bravo Team, whoever happens to answer. And then we're gonna have our characters try to answer him, but then they're gonna notice that the radio is broken, so they're not gonna be able to contact help at this point. So once they're back out into the courtyard when coming through the stone hallway, they're going to be heading into the little storeroom that contained the crank, and they're going to be heading into the hallway where the door that needed the four crests is located. This door leads back into the mansion. So when they go back through the door, there's actually going to be a scene in the game where there's a hunter that's been stalking them, and he's going to be coming out from the underground, and he's going to jump over the elevator shaft that they can't get through because the battery's pulled out. But since this creature can jump really high, it's just going to be able to jump over, and it's going to go into the hall where the door with the four crest was located, and it's going to eventually follow you inside the house. In the game, you're probably helpless all the way up until the enemy starts coming towards you, at which point you would want to attack it. So this enemy actually has a one kill shot where he'll jump at you and he'll cut your head off. So he's pretty lethal in the game if you're not careful. So we're going to have that scene play out the same for our characters. Once they're walking into the mansion, one of them is going to hear that the door is opening. When they check to see, they're going to notice that there's a hunter and they're going to want to take it down. So maybe one of them could shoot at it with a shotgun, sending it back, and then the other character can continue to kill it with their handgun. So once they've killed the hunter, they're actually going to be in this hall that contained the gallery where they found their first crest. In this hall, there's actually a door that's locked with a helmet key. It's the study room. So we're going to have Chris go into this room, but as soon as he unlocks the door with the helmet key, we're actually going to have him split off from Jill. So he's going to give the key to Jill, and he's going to tell her to go explore the other room that's upstairs. This is the trophy room. In this room is where you're going to be finding the red jewel and some important paperwork. So we're going to have Jill go up to the second floor to explore this room. So while we have Chris going to the study room, there's an important item that's found here in the game, which is the Doom Book 1. The Doom Book 1 is the one that has the eagle emblem inside. You need 2 emblems to open a fountain on the second floor courtyard that leads into the main lab of the mansion. You need an eagle emblem and you need a wolf emblem. So we've already picked up the eagle emblem here when Chris is going to be picking up the Doom Book. There's actually some magnum rounds in this room as well, so we're going to have him pick these up, and this will be a great way for them to get ammo for the gun that they will be picking up later. So when Jill goes up to the second floor and she goes into the trophy room, she's gonna notice that it's dark. But when it's dark, she's actually gonna be able to notice that there's a jewel on a deer ornament on the other side of the wall. She's gonna have to push some stairs in place so that she can reach it. But when she's pulled it out, she's gonna notice that it's actually a red jewel. So this red jewel goes into the tiger statue that they previously put in the blue jewel into to receive the crest. When they put in the red jewel, you get a magnum. So in this room, there's actually another set of important item, which is orders from the Umbrella Corporation dictating that they basically want Wesker to lure Alpha Team and Bravo Team to the mansion so that they can fight with the BOWs and he can gain battle research data for Umbrella so that they can sell the T virus to the black market. Unfortunately for Umbrella, Wesker is actually a double agent and he's actually going to be stealing this information so he could give it to a different organization. And then he's planning on basically blowing up the mansion at that point. So at this point, we haven't been revealed that Wesker is a traitor yet, but we do know that somebody has been basically playing with stars. They know that they brought him here on purpose so that they can get killed for research purposes. So this would be the great turning point in the game where maybe Jill starts suspecting that maybe there's somebody that's a traitor within their team. So upon leaving the trophy room, once she's picked up the red jewel and she has these orders, she's gonna be heading downstairs and she's gonna be heading into the tiger statue room. She's gonna insert the red jewel here and she's gonna be able to take the magnum out. So at this point, we're actually just gonna have Jill still be separated from Chris. They're not gonna be able to meet up until a little later. Um, Jill is going to be able to go up to the second floor and she's going to be able to enter a door on the far end of the hall that contains the stairwell and the second storeroom. She's going to be able to open the door that's in this room. In this room, there's actually a map that you can pick up, so we're not going to bother with the map since they've already picked up one map in the movie, and we're just going to have that map be the map for the whole house. She's not gonna need to do the fireplace thing here, so we're just gonna forget that entirely. So this door leads into a room called the lesson room. This room is where you're actually gonna be fighting the Yawn the second time, and we're actually gonna be going with Jill's scenario for this scene. We're gonna have Jill defeat the Yawn the second time by herself to showcase that she is strong, independent character on her own. So when she goes into this room, now that she's acquired the Magnum, she'll be able to take care of the Yawn a second time more easily because she's already fought it once and she has a more powerful weapon now. When playing in the game, the Yawn will bite the floor and there will be a hole that's revealed. We're going to have that happen here in our movie as well. The Yawn's going to bite the floor and there's going to be a hole that's there. But since she's fighting the Yawn at the moment, she's not going to be able to notice the hole. But once she's defeated it, she's going to notice it and she's going to go up to it. In the game, if you go up to it, Barry will come in and he'll offer to let you fall down into the hole by using a rope. When you're down there, you'll notice that there's actually a tomb. If you click the button on the tomb, you'll be able to unlock it, and there's a ladder leading down. And if you stay there long enough, Barry will come back with another rope, and he'll be able to pull you back up. So if we go with the first scene, we're gonna have Jill drop down into the hole using Barry's rope, and then Barry's gonna drop it like he does in the game, and then he's gonna run off to get another rope. And then while Barry does that, Jill is gonna see that there's a tomb down here, and then upon inspecting it, she'll notice that there's a button. When she presses it, she's going to reveal a ladder that goes down. At this point, since she's read the orders that were in the room with the red jewel, the trophy room, she's gonna be a little suspicious of everybody. So when Barry comes down again and he hoists her back up with a rope, she's actually not gonna mention the tomb at all. But if you were playing the game, if you had not received the radio yet, this is where Barry would give you the radio. But since we've established that our characters had the radio the whole time because Richard was dead in our scenario, we're not gonna have this piece of dialogue play out. We're actually just gonna have Barry apologize to Jill for dropping her down there, and we're gonna have him give her the passcode that they need to enter the two double doors that are in the hall that contains the trophy room, and then that door needs a code to be unlocked. This door leads into some underground tunnels that are coincidentally another way to get in apart from the tomb that she found in the hole that the yawn made. So once this happened, we're actually gonna have Barry leave like he does in the game, and then we're actually gonna have Chris join up Jill here. So Chris is gonna come in, and he's gonna talk to Jill. He's gonna be like, "Oh, what happened?" And he's gonna see that Jill defeated the yawn. So Chris and Jill are gonna go down using the rope that Barry brought back, and they're gonna go into the ladder that was hidden by the tomb. In these long hallways, there's actually nothing really important. There's like a flamethrower puzzle, but we're actually gonna have Barry just have the flamethrower with him at all times, because he also has his magnum, so he's good on that. We're not gonna have the flamethrower puzzles in these hallways. We're actually just gonna have them traverse the hallways until they get to the area where there's an elevator. When they board into this elevator, they'll be able to go down to another sub level of the tunnels. In this area, there's actually only two important rooms. One room is a little storeroom off to the left that contains a battery that they'll be able to use for the elevator. So when they enter this room, they'll be able to pick up the battery, and that will be their main goal for this area completed. From there, they'll be able to go into another set of double doors on the other side of the hallway. These doors lead into a library that has two doors. So one of the doors actually leads into a separate library. In this library, there's an important item, but you have to complete a puzzle to obtain it. So uh, in this part of the mansion in the original game, you just go in and you complete the puzzle and you receive your item and you leave. In the rebirth mode of the Nintendo DS version, when you go into this area, there's actually a chimera that pops up, and you're not able to kill it, but it'll keep reappearing as though it's stalking you in this room. So we're actually gonna have that here happen in our movie. We're gonna have Chris and Jill, upon entering the first library section, they're gonna see that this door is here, so they're gonna step into this separate library. There's actually a carving on the wall. If you hit a button that's in the middle of the chest, a light will flicker on in the corner, and that'll give them an indication that something maybe needs to be placed there. They'll notice that there's actually a stone statue that's in the room with them. They'll push the statue into the light, which is actually highlighting a pressure plate. When the pressure plate is pressed, a bookshelf slides open to reveal that there's a desk there. On the desk is actually a Mo disc. If you're playing on a harder difficulty in the game, the first Doom book here will be here. Um, but since they've already gotten the Doom book 1 in the study room, we're actually just going to have the Mo disc be here so that they can be introduced to the Mo disc now, so they can have the first one in a convenient way, and then that way it goes along with their scenarios in a way that would feel right. So once they pick up the Mo disc is when I feel the Chimera should be introduced, like in the Nintendo DS Rebirth mode. This way, a new character threat can be introduced in a fluid way, and then we can be able to use a really great jump scare here. They won't be able to defeat the Chimera because in the game you're not able to kill them here. You're not going to be encountering them until you reach the main mansion lab. So we're just going to have them maybe go through a vent, and then they're going to be like, damn, well, whatever, we're going to need to be more careful. So when they leave this library, they're going to notice that there's a bookshelf on the other end of this hall, which is just the first area library that they walked into when they came into the two double blue doors. When they push this bookshelf out of the way, there's actually another door here that is revealed. So we're gonna have our characters going through this door, and it's actually just a little room with a really big window. When you look out through the window, you're actually able to see the guardhouse, and you're able to see a heliport. This is gonna be our characters' goal from now on. They're gonna want to go and operate the pedestal that's near the water tank area in the courtyard, so they can fill it back up, and so they can go down the ladder, and they're gonna be able to put the battery in the elevator now. And their second goal is that they're gonna want to reach this heliport so they can contact Brad there. So we're gonna have them leave this area, the library that they're in, and they're gonna be in the hall that had contained the room where they got the battery. In this hall, there's actually the elevator, so we're gonna have them get the elevator and go back down. When they reach the bottom part of the basement labs that they're in, where it's like these little long hallways under the main mansion, there's actually a kitchen area that they can step into. When they go into this kitchen area, there's actually a door that leads back up to the mansion. These are the two double doors that are actually in the hall where the piano room was located, and they encountered their first zombie. In the game, these two doors were locked from the inside. So we're gonna have that happen here in our movie. Since now they're on the other side of these doors, they're gonna be able to go up and they're gonna be able to unlock them. In the game, there's actually a jump scare here that happens where you see an enemy going down the stairs, and when they open the door, it's revealed to be a zombie. So we're gonna have that jump scare happen here as well. We're gonna have a zombie come down the stairs, and we're gonna have them jump scare the player. Um, so now that they've able to do that, they're gonna be able to go back up, and they're gonna be able to go into the mansion once again. We're gonna have them just go back out into the courtyard. Once they're in the courtyard area, they're gonna be stepping into the area that has the water tank that's past the two gated doors. Once they're in this area, we're gonna have maybe Jill crank the podium, and when the water is spaced out, Chris will run out and he'll go down the snake path and he'll take the elevator down. When he's in the sub level courtyard area, he's gonna be putting the battery back in the elevator, and he's gonna go back up the elevator, and he's gonna reunite with Jill on the other side. And once they're there, they're gonna crank the podium again. The area is gonna fill with water, and they're gonna head back into the first area of the courtyard, and they're gonna be heading down the long hallway down where the winch didn't work, and they're gonna be able to take the elevator back down into the sub courtyard area. So now that they're in this area and the water has been halted, the waterfall is no longer there. So they'll be able to go into this area that has the ladder that was hidden. So I'm gonna leave the next area, which is the underground passageways and the first half of the lab. I'm gonna leave those for next video, seeing as though this video is a little long already. So in this video, we basically covered the guardhouse, the courtyard area. There are two main goals, which was receiving the battery and the helmet key, as well as getting knowledge that there is a heliport that they can contact their teammate Brad on. So they're going to be wanting to head into this underground to be able to investigate more. In this area, they're actually going to be able to reach the heliport, but I'm going to be leaving that for the next video. So I hope you guys that have been watching have really liked the way I've been envisioning this series. I really hope that these movies or series are done right. They're getting another whole opportunity to be able to correct the mistakes that were made in the first movies, so that they can actually be faithful to the source material, but also be entertaining. Because a lot of people, their main strike against making a movie that's faithful to the games is that they say that maybe the game mechanics or the puzzles can't be translated into movies. So I took the challenge upon myself to be able to show you guys that you can make a movie with all these puzzles and still make it interesting and have it make sense and not feel out of place or maybe forced. So if you guys are liking my video series, I hope you guys give me a thumbs up, and I hope you guys share this video so that I can get to as many people as possible, so you guys can see how good this